All right. So he's got all kinds of pictures of these wonderful looking bridges. They've restored them. They've worked on them. They've done so much for our community, and they're still doing it. So you need to get involved. And once again, you can look him up on the Facebook at Marty White, or Marty Lane White. And the White is spelled W-Y-A-T-T. Check him out on the Facebook. Give him a letter in the mail, P.O. Box 55, Mount Vernon, 40456. And there's just so much history. And, you know, we need to hold on to our history, hold on to our heritage.
Yes, we do. We do. That's it's a part of the past that really needs to be remembered, especially with covered bridges, like I say, because my biggest thing with the covered bridges is Civil War.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there was so much involvement in them. You know, there's been so many troops that walked across them. Some of them were defended to keep from being burnt, and some of them in Kentucky were actually burnt.
Oh.
So there's one in Bowling Green that was. So.
And you see these men fit for our freedoms and our liberties, and it's still standing today, you know, our freedom and liberty. And that's something we should never take for granted. That's something we should always hold on to, just like our history. Hold on to it.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people in today's society, they want change, they want bigger, they want better, but take me back to the old time.
There you go.
That's where I like to be.
That's the way I am.
We got about 5 minutes left in the program, but we're so thankful. And once again, tell them the name of your organization.
It's a foundation for Virginia's lost covered bridges.
Okay. Lost covered bridges. Now, how many people you got that works with you? And you got a full crew when you go to the bridges and work on them.
Well, those are contractors that build those. So we've got about I think there's like 8 people that's involved right now.
Oh, that's good. And they've all got a love of history and a love of just the community in general, you know.
Yeah, Virginia's was real important because almost every one of them were involved in a Civil War, and they were burnt. You know, Virginia lost 90% of the bridges during the war. It was devastating.
And you know what a lot of people don't realize about the Civil War? It was fought right here in our country. I mean, right in our communities.
Yes.
People from Kentucky went into battle, and people from Tennessee and Virginia, Massachusetts. I mean, it was all around.
Yeah. First casualty in the Civil War was at Barberville.
Oh.
There you go.
And they usually have the reenactment down there, you know.
And there was a bridge involved there. During when the Confederates came into Barberville, they took the boards off the bridge, trying to keep the troops from coming in. So.
My goodness. This is some good history today, and I'm telling you, I really appreciate people that try to hold on to history and, you know, preserve it and get the word out to people that you need to do the same, because, you know, we could build skyscrapers all day long, but where is our ancestors at? You know, where's our history?
Yeah, it was our ancestors that's brought us to the point where we can build them.
Exactly.
You know, we need to remember that.
You know, I love places where, like parks, where they preserve the history, like, you know, Levi Jackson in London, and just different places that hold on to that old time way, you know.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of sweat and tears put into all of it.
It sure was. From men and women too. You know, the women used to work so hard and make all the clothes and things like that by hand.
Yeah, it was all by hand. Everything was grown, and everybody had to pitch in to survive. If you didn't, you know, it's not like it was today. If you don't work in the garden, you didn't eat.
Oh. You know, it's phenomenal that we can get the word out today on TV and radio and internet about the Bridges Foundation, the Lost Covered Bridges. We want to really encourage people to get involved with these programs. It's reaching out to people, that's reaching out, trying to preserve all this good history for us, because, you know, some of these bridges are like hundreds and hundreds of years old. 150 years old. And it's still standing. Oh, they really knew how to build things back then.
We done a blitz program down in Virginia where we knew there used to be a covered bridge in the area. Never knew where it was, couldn't find any records on it. So we slammed the radio, the newspapers, and had articles put out asking if anyone knew, you know, on it. And we had a 91-year-old man that came up, him and his wife, and he said, I can tell you And he used to drive an oil truck across it. That was in 1930.
Oh,
But he took us right to it and found where the bridge schools were. He even told the story about his sister-in-law was on a buggy and they fell through the bridge into the water and had to go down the creek a certain distance to get out. Nobody got hurt and the horse never got hurt or anything, so it's amazing stories.
that is history. I love good history stories, and you know what? We can preserve this history, and it's up to you and me and the whole community in a general that we say, hey, let's do our part. Let's do our part. And we'd like to appreciate Mr. Marty White for being with us today. And this has been the Local and Community Issues and Answers. Join us next week. We'll have another special guest. But once again, we want to give you his email or his address here. It's P.O. Box 55, Mount Vernon, 40456. And look him up on the internet at Marty Lane White at Facebook.com. Marty, it's good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
All right, keep up the good work, and we'll see you next week.